Hey everybody, this video is intended to refresh your memory on loading and storing using LC3. So if you ever forget what an instruction does, you can come back here. Alright, so let's get started. We can think of memory addresses as boxes. Each address in memory has its own box. Each box has a unique ID, which is just its address. So here we have a box with X2010. Here we have a box that is X4000. In each box, we can store a value. So this box we have a value, and in this box we have a value. We can label each box with a name. Labels allow us to easily reference a box without always having to use its address. This is much more convenient. The first instruction we'll look at is LEA, also known as a load effective address. All this does is when you feed in a label, we go to that box with the label, and we just copy this address into the destination register. So in the case of LEA R1 array address, we look at this box specified by the label, and since it's labeled with array address, we take the address 2010 and copy it into R1. LD stands for load direct. LD allows you to put the contents of a box into a register. You just need to specify which box you want to look into and which register you want to copy into. In the case of LDR1 array address, we go to the box labeled with array address, so this box right here, and we take what's inside, okay, and we copy this into R1. However, LD only works for things that are relatively close in memory. LDI stands for load indirect. LDI is similar to LD, but with one extra step. You specify what box you want to look into using a label, and you treat the contents inside the box like an address. And you go to this address, so here we go to X4000, so we go to this box here, and whatever's inside this box is what we copy into the register. So in the case of LDI R1 array address, we go into the box labeled with array address, take what's inside, this hex 4000, this tells us what box we go to next. So now we go to the hex 4000 box, and the content inside of this box is what we actually want to copy into R1. Next up is LDR. LDR stands for load relative. LDR is very similar to LDI, but instead of using a label, we use a register. LDR also has an extra parameter called an offset. The offset is added to the address, so we have the offset and the address, and this new address is where we copy the contents from into the destination register. So in the case of LDR R1 R0 #0, if R0 is X4000, this means we go to the box X4000 and copy what's inside into R1. If the offset here was instead of a 0, it was actually a 1, we would go to the box 4001 and copy what's inside there into R1. Stores work the same way, but backwards. So for loading, you can think of the flow going from right to left when you read an instruction. We start in the address specified on the right, and we copy things into the destination register on the left. For stores, we'll work in the opposite direction, so we'll be going from left to right. So we start in the register on the left and take what's inside and store it into the address on the right. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out or leave a comment below. Thank you for watching, and I hope this helped.